Bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite, or whatever the case may be. My name is Marcus, and I am the host of the Black Brazil Today YouTube channel, as well as the BlackBrazilToday.com blog, where I analyze Brazil from the perspective of race. So, in past blog articles and even in a few videos, this name has come up a few times already. I know it's about time that I have to do a full video about this person. It's a topic. Again, I think it fits perfectly in what I talk about most of the time on this channel. Anyway, so today I'm talking about Nilo Peçanha. He was considered Brazil's first and only Black president. Now, um, a lot of controversy surrounding this guy in terms of what he looked like, how he saw himself, how he's being remembered in terms of history, and to tell you the truth, how Brazil has dealt with him is just very typical of how this race question has played out in Brazil for decades, if not centuries. So before I even get into it, make sure that you like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, click on the notification bell. With that said, let's talk a little bit about Nilo Peçanha. This is going to be a short video because I just want to introduce the topic. Then I'm going to do a full extended video sometime in the future, okay? So, Nilo Peçanha, o presidente negro do Brasil, the Black president of Brazil. This topic was talked a lot about back in, I don't know, 2000, between 2008, 2011, because people were talking about the election of Barack Obama at the time. And it became a talking point in a lot of, social network accounts where people were saying, oh, well, do you know that Brazil already had its first Black president? We had a Black president years ago. That wasn't the first time that I had talked about or heard about Nilo Peçanha. Actually, the first time I had ever heard of Nilo Peçanha and being represented as either a man of color or a Black man was through this book series that I used to read by an author named J.A. Rogers. He had a popular series of books called Sex and Race, where he just talked about people of African descent throughout the world, how they were treated, what their importance was, and whatever particular country that they were from, how he was seen by the public, how people defined this person as being Black, mixed, or whatever he might have been, and just his or her accomplishments in life. So J.A. Rogers covered this. I don't remember. I think he had a 3-volume set called Sex and Race, and I don't remember exactly which one of his books actually mentioned Nilo Peçanha, but he was clearly in there because I had all of those books. Okay, Nilo Peçanha, first Black president of Brazil. The other thing about Nilo Peçanha is that his image, like other important Black Brazilians of the past, okay, Black or brown, mixed or mulatto, whatever you want to call him, he had his image whitened because Brazil did not want people of prominence to be seen as being Black. Brazil has been anti-Black for a long time, so this is nothing surprising. I've talked about this before when I talked about the writer who's considered Brazil's greatest writer, Machado de Assis. He's, like I said, to this day, he's still considered, if not the greatest, one of the greatest writers in Brazil. But through the magic of we can say photo editing, how they did Photoshop, 100 years ago or so. When people saw the image of Machado de Assis, they also saw him as a white man until people started looking into this and other pictures would start popping up saying, okay, these are untouched pictures of Machado de Assis. This is what he really looked like. So then it became a surprise for a lot of people, like, no, well, Machado de Assis was clearly a Black man. When you look at all of his pictures, there was a campaign back in 2019, and the objective of this campaign was to represent Machado de Assis in the Brazilian consciousness as this man was either Black or of African descent. And so what I'm seeing is that the same thing is going to have to happen with Nilo Peçanha. Another question is, how did Nilo Peçanha see himself? Right? That's been a topic of debate for a minute. We have both sides. We have a side that says, well, look, the way that they saw Nilo Peçanha at the time versus how he identified himself, which one has more value? How do we see a person depending on how they self-identify and then how the public sees that person. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a more longer term video, longer form video rather. But this video is courtesy of a YouTube channel. So I want to just introduce what this YouTuber did with the presentation of Nilo Peçanha. So let's get into this. I'm going to just overdub what this YouTube channel said. You may not know it, but Brazil's already had a black president, and at the beginning of the 20th century, his name was Nilo Peçanha, and he was vice president in 1906, having reached the definitive presidency in 1909 with the death of the sitting president. Although his presidency was short, Nilo Peçanha's government focused on education. Between 1909 and 1910, the first technical schools were opened in the country and various investments in education were made. Not ironically, Nilo Peçanha is considered the father of technical education in Brazil. He was also the first popular and populist president. After leaving the presidency, he went on to become governor and senator of Rio de Janeiro, trying for a second presidential term in 1918 and 1922, but without success. Anyway, it's curious to think that a person of color governed Brazil at the time where racism was still present and accepted in society. So anyway, that's just a little background about Nilo Peçanha. Again, that's a real summarized version of who this person was. And as I said, as they've done with Machado de Assis, a lot of people you see in this thumbnail here, and in the original one here, you know, and people talking about Brazilian history, a lot of people are, you know, proclaiming like, look, this was the first black president of Brazil. Okay, so you'll see a lot of people promoting this on YouTube or on blogs, and it's a question. You know, there's a lot of people that say we should separate mulattoes or mixed people away from blackness, where you have a large segment of Brazilian society that's saying no, these people belong, you know, in the black category as well. A lot to be said on this topic, but for now, I just wanted to introduce the idea of the possibility that Brazil had a black president in the first decade of the 20th century. So Nilo Peçanha, first black president of Brazil. I will return to cover this topic in a later video with a little bit more context and a lot more content. But for now, tell me what you thought about this video. Drop a comment in the comment section. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. Click on the notification bell when you know, so you'll find out when I put up a new video. And with that said, I'm going to end this video here and ask that you come by and check out the next video that I post.